Good evening, everyone. It is Monday night. It is time for us to get on our DJ and TV shows for the week. I'm John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. Starting with our first show tonight, we were going to have KC join us, and I think KC's running a little bit late. That can happen when we got these shows going at different times of the day. Robin, I see you in the chat room. Thank you for joining, and we'll have some folks jumping in here in the next little bit, and hopefully KC can join us, and we'll talk a little bit about Wedding MBA. Kind of disappointed, of course. I was hoping to make it to Wedding MBA this year. I actually went out and bought the pass and had the hotel room and everything ready to go, and unfortunately just couldn't get there because of the whole eye situation, and we can talk about that here a little bit. If Casey doesn't join us, I'll give you guys an update on that. If you're watching this on Facebook, thank you for bouncing on with us. You can click in the description. There's 4 links for the 4 shows tonight. We're in show number 1. You can click there and go to the YouTube player. The YouTube player will allow you to be in the chat room with us and share, ask questions and share ideas and be part of the show tonight as we go along. Our schedule tonight, though, is set. We're going to have KC here in the first half hour, so hopefully you can join us here to talk a little bit about Wedding MBA. And then in the second half hour at the 8:30 time slot, we've got Ron Ruth joining us from Kansas City. Ron Ruth will also be talking about Wedding MBA, but they're going to be coming from 2 different perspectives because they're 2 different people and they both looked at different things at the show. And then after that, Mitch Taylor is going to jump on with us, and I think it's Mitch next, or was it? Now I'm not even sure. Audio Symposium is next. Ben Stowe and I'm hoping to get Ben Stowe and Jeremy Breck to both log in during that 8 o'clock, or excuse me, it would be the 9 o'clock hour, or 9 o'clock half hour, from 9 to 9:30 Eastern Time. They're going to be logging in from the Audio Symposium, which is going on right now at Electro Voice headquarters. It's very similar in some ways to the Lighting Symposium, which a lot of you have heard about, but they've got audio techs coming in and talking about how to get the best sound out of your audio gear. Not specifically Electro Voice gear, but they're covering the different terminology and different aspects of sound so they can really step up their game when it comes to the audio side. And that's going on this week. So we're going to hear hopefully from Jeremy Breck and Ben Stowe, both of which will be happening and coming to us after 9 o'clock tonight Eastern Time. Then we've got, just checking, make sure any messages coming here from Casey. Then after that, we've got Mitch who's going to be coming in. Mitch at 9:30 Eastern Time tonight. He's going to be talking about moving your call, that telephone call you get from the question of price, and moving them to a meeting. And there's ways to do that and some ideas and thoughts with that and some strategy. So Mitch is going to be sharing that with us tonight at 9:30 Eastern, and then 10 o'clock. MJ and Dan. I don't think Shanie's going to be able to make it with us. She wasn't feeling too well earlier today, so maybe she'll be up and ready to go for our show tonight. If not, it'll be the 3 of us talking a little bit about what's going on in the DJ world and such. So that's kind of the show for tonight. Tomorrow night, Brian Red and I will be doing our Tuesday night show and talking about all sorts of different things within the industry. If you guys have got questions, you send those in. Wednesday night will be, it's our live mix night. If you guys would like to be watching that show, there are links and such. We send those out only through the people who have signed up for our different things. So you can go to djntv.com/insider, sign up for the free notifications. Then we'll send you the link to the Wednesday night show. This week it's going to be DJ Kilma from Winnipeg, who is an EDM DJ. DJ Kilma is going to be coming on and talking about mixing of EDM music and how that differs, give us some examples and some music things and such. So when we have someone come up to us and say, hey, can you play some EDM? That she has some thoughts and ideas and such. And it'll be just a good night to ask questions about that format, especially if you're a wedding DJ and you're really not sure, that whole genre and what it's all about. So that's what our night is going on. And I don't see KC out there. I don't know if he's gotten tied up today or if something happened. I chatted with him earlier today and I thought, he would be rolling in any moment for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of a break here for our sponsors for tonight's show, and hopefully we can get KC to pop in here in just a little bit.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Top Hits USA from RPM. Our name says it all. Get the latest hits while they're the hottest. With Top Hits USA, you'll have the track for sure. Visit tophitsusa.com or call 800-521-2537 and get a free demo.
So those are our sponsors for our DJ and TV shows coming up here. If you want to check into them some more, there's some links down in the description below. You can go click on that and check them out. You got Electro Voice. You've got tonight we've got Denon, we got DJ Event Planner, Top Hits USA. All are great companies that have different services that DJs. Some of them audio, some of them different things. Check those out. Music services. There's some great companies there that are supporting a lot of the things we do here at Disc Jockey News. So show them some love. Yeah, Sean, thank you for joining us here. We got Sound Obsession DJ. Thank you guys for popping in and being with me tonight. We're hoping KC is just running a little late and he'll be bouncing in with us. So while we're waiting for him, there's a few things we can cover. One of the things, as I mentioned earlier, the audio symposium is going on down in Burnsville area at the EV headquarters, and that some of you have heard me talk a little bit about the way tops and subs, yes, they're from the same line, and yes, they're the same brand company, and they're from the same line. But in the case of like the ETX tops, an ETX 15, the 15P top, an ETX sub, the 18-inch sub. Now we've talk all the time about making sure your subs and your tops match because they're designed to go that way. But we've also talked about when you get to a point when you're pushing the speakers a little bit harder, that the top can kind of run away from the subwoofer. It's a common experience. I mean, I've heard that with pretty much everything that I've brought into the office here and test, is that it's like to a point, volume-wise, they're really good, and then you get to the point where there's more top end than there is low end, because obviously the subwoofers have to work much harder to make that sound. It takes more energy, what have you. So that's what we're referring to is when you're going volume-wise, just imagine your volumes here for your top and your sub. The volume goes up, and then all of a sudden the sub is and then the top just continues to go. That's what we're referring to basically as the speaker running away. So what I did is I did a little experiment. I had the EKX subs and the tops. We ran 2 different nights with those. We ran at a single 18-inch sub below a 15, so we had 2 15s and two 18-inch subs. That was what we did for one school the first particular night. So when we're playing, most of the night, we're having that where the volumes are pretty good, and then the top started to run away a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. It was a smaller room. The second night, I decided, let's change this up a little bit. Let's go and let's put 2 subs. So we ran a dual 18 so 2 18-inch subs on each side under that 15-inch top. Interesting thing. So then when we started, you had your top here. You had actually more bass coming out of it. And then as you went up, it was kind of cool because instead of the top running away, it kind of actually caught up with them at the higher volumes. And it was actually an incredible sound. In that room I was playing in, and I played that, it was a high school dance, I played that room numerous times. But because of that additional bass, and I've never run a dual 18 type configuration there before, but because of the additional bass, I had things vibrating in the ceiling that we've never heard vibrate before, which probably wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but you know what, that's okay. The kids absolutely loved it because we were able to fill that room with a bass sound that we haven't had with just a single 18. And again, and I hit that point where the top would have typically been running away from it. The top was kind of catching up to that sub, and we were incredibly loud there. I mean, I wouldn't go any farther. Actually, I didn't even run it at that volume. I ended up pulling it back a little bit, but I wanted to test it out and see what it could do. So when you hear people talking about the tops running away, that's generally what we're referring to, is that after a certain volume, that the tops have more than the bass or the subwoofer has. again, I've had this in testing of all of the brands that we've tested out here, whether it's been EV or Yamaha or PV. We had some QSC stuff, and it happens that the top just has, because again with the crossovers and different things. But when you go with the dual sub, it's a much different situation. You can do some tweaking. If I were going to do that again, I'd probably go to the back of the subs and probably take them down, maybe down a little bit, taking 1 dB down or maybe 2 dB down, or you give the top maybe a 2 dB bump so that it would be at those lower volumes, especially for a wedding. Again, imagine that the subs volume was here and the top was here, and as we went up, then the top eventually caught up. But at these lower volumes, which I would consider these lower volumes are my wedding volumes, because you don't play as loud at a wedding typically as you do at a teen dance. At these volume levels, the sub was way too much for what I was getting. So I would have been I needed to pull that down, those subs down maybe 2 dB, or bringing the top up, so they would have been closer to hitting the sweet spot at that volume level that you want for your wedding, which is, again, different than it was at a teen dance. So, yes, I was running the built-in crossovers, because with the Electro Voice things, you can go in there and you can actually set what they're matching up with. So I set that to go with that subwoofer, and a subwoofer to go with that top. Now, I could have been running a DBX and running things externally of that, but I sometimes like to keep things simple. And in this particular case, when I can dial the subs into the top and vice versa, and then maybe just doing a little tweaking on the board if I need to, or it's on the back if I need to. Otherwise, with the 3-band EQ, I know if you watched last week BSR Brian Red show, he talked about on your 3-band EQ bringing the mids down. He actually, instead of running the mids at 12 o'clock, he brings the mids down to about 9 o'clock. You could do things like that. I try to keep it just as simple as possible. I run my board flat and get my speakers tiled into each other, and then off we go. I've had really, really good luck with that. Now, I have a house system that we helped set up that's up in a bar up in Alexandria. And in that particular case, we went and we got the big DBX unit in there that is acting as the crossover, because we wanted to have the limiting, and we wanted to have the roll-off, and we wanted to have all these little nuances, so that if a DJ came in there, and this actually happened, we had one of the nights a scratch, a vinyl guy came in there, and he played it so loud in the bar for the night that they were rattling things off the wall that had never happened before with the normal house DJ. But this guy came in there, and he must have been deaf. That's all I can think of. He played so loud, which the speakers are designed to be able to handle that, but he couldn't blow him up because we had the DBX set to limit him at a certain, there was a limiter that kicked in and crunched everything down, and he couldn't blow it apart. So I use them sometimes, but on my mobile shows, I haven't run an external crossover, probably since my bag end. The Bose days at the 802 and the 501 sub. When I used to run that, that's when I had my last crossover. Well, gang, it's looking like Casey's not going to make it, so I'm going to give you guys a quick little update on the on what's going on. Some of you are on my Facebook page, and you saw that I posted today. For those of you who don't, I'll just bring up to speed. I was diagnosed September 7th with torn retinas in both eyes, and what that basically means is that on my left eye, my retina, which is in the back of the eye, was torn from about 9 o'clock down to about 6:30, I think is what they refer to it as. No, excuse me. It'd be from about 3 o'clock. I'm looking at it the wrong way. 3 o'clock down to about 5:30. So that part was torn. What happened is it tore, and it came apart a little bit from the back of the eye, and then fluid from the eye could get under it. And in time, that was starting to cause my vision, my peripheral vision, to black, and it was right to here when I finally noticed it. I didn't notice it until they actually had okay, can you see, one eye, do this, can you see how many fingers? When they did that and I couldn't see anything, then they're like, oh yeah, there's something definitely wrong there. I didn't know, because everything here was being picked up by the right eye, and you just don't notice it. So that was September 7th. September 12th, I went in for surgery, for the first surgery on the left eye, and they went in and reattached the tear. It's all done with laser, and there's a lot of cool things that they did with that. But the problem with that surgery is that I bled. I've been eating a healthier diet, and that caused me to be more of a bleeder for that particular event. So 2 weeks later, they went back into that eye and cleaned the blood out, which now, as I'm sitting here today, I can see my screen, I can see my picture there, I can see Facebook or the YouTube chat there, but I have a cataract in there that's very advanced now, so everything is gray. Actually, what's kind of interesting is I was at the eye doctor today talking to the cataract surgeon, and they had me look in this little thing, and in the back of the little device where they were measuring my eye, whatever they were doing, I don't know. There's this little image of a farm, a little cartoon farm thing, and that's what you're supposed to look at. So I look at it through the right eye, and it's like, oh, there it is. It's just kind of cute, whatever. I looked with my left eye, and first off, because of the cloudiness or fogginess of the left eye with the cataract, couldn't see what it was for surely. But the part that surprised me is that there was no color. The cataract basically has taken most colors, and everything's kind of a gray-brown world. And I hadn't even noticed that. So that was the darndest thing. But anyway, so today was cataract meeting with a cataract surgeon, and they want to try to get the cataract fixed so that I can see. Because right now I can see pretty well with my right eye, and I can see to type and read what you guys are typing and such. But they want to get the left eye finished so I can be able to see and read with it, and then get to the right eye. My left eye, when we had the first surgery done, I had asked the doctor about how much more time I had before that would have been basically gone blind in that eye, and he figured I had about a month to go. The right eye isn't as advanced as the left eye was with damage, much less damage with that, but as she was looking at it today, she's like, I can see that there's more fluid building up under that retina, so it's got to go, and it's going to have to go here in the next short period of time. So meeting with the cataract doctor today, interesting thing is the right eye, which hasn't had anything done with it, already has a level 1 cataract in it. I wouldn't even know that, but that's what she found out. So the schedule is tomorrow morning I go back, or tomorrow afternoon I should say, I go back into that cataract doctor, and they're going to measure my eyes. They're going to get the measurements all done so they know what lens to put in my eyes. Then Wednesday afternoon I go in, and they're going to take the cataract out of my left eye and do the surgery to put the lens in. And if everything works right, I'll get to the original problem here in a bit. If everything works right, by Thursday, I should have a better level of vision. It may not be completely clean because of the haze that's in there. They may have to come back and laser surgery the back of the area to clean it, but I should be able to see better on Thursday with the left eye than I can today. Then they're going to, what the proposal is right now is that instead of doing the retina surgery on my right eye, which we need to do probably in the next few weeks, is to do the cataract surgery in the right eye. What that does is it'll clean out the cataract that's there. They'll put the lens in, and what that the little pouch that holds your lens in right now, since it's a natural lens, is a little bit thicker. When they do the man-made lens and put that in there, it makes it much thinner, so that when the retina surgery happens, that little pouch doesn't sag in as much. It stays up closer to the eyelid, or to the front of the eye. So instead of being like my left eye, where he was working and he kind of nicked it, and that's what made that cataract go so quickly, that he'll have more space to do what he needs to do in the right eye. So the cataract surgeon was suggesting we do measure tomorrow, Wednesday surgery left eye, next Tuesday surgery right eye, then the week after we do the retina surgery in the right eye. So if everything works out, and I'm hoping it does, by Halloween or shortly thereafter, I might be able to see out of both eyes and be retina damage free. That's what we're hoping to. The original problem is 20 years ago I had LASIK surgery, which had nothing to do with this, but I just want to put that out there that this is part of the process. Before that, I was very, very nearsighted, and some people who are very nearsighted are susceptible to this happening. What this is that the fluid that's in your eye can attach to the retina. And as we age, and if we're nearsighted, the eyeball is a little bit longer than it should be, and that fluid can pull on the retina, and it will tear it. What really triggered me to start kind of acting, that, this isn't right, was sitting after the surgery that I had in June when I had the appendix out. And I'm sitting in the recovery room, and I'm looking up at the white ceiling, and I'm seeing these things that look like bugs up on the ceiling. And I knew they were some sort of floaters, whatever. I didn't know that was a term at the time. But I'm seeing this, and I thought, this must mean that my cornea, or something maybe irritated my eyes a little bit. And I'm watching, and it's like, goodness. First off, when my 90-year-old great mother-in-law's, anyway, whatever when she was saying she was seeing bugs all over, I'm thinking she saw floaters, and no one knew what floaters were at that time, because I remember her talking about that. But I thought it was something with the anesthetic. So I went and I talked to them, and they're like, it isn't. Anesthetic can't do that. But if it's still bothering you are you still seeing it in a couple of months, come back and talk to us. That's when it came back, and he diagnosed it. So it's Unfortunately, I'm one of that's susceptible to this because of the nearsightedness and a few other things that are just beyond my control. Not everyone who's nearsighted will have a torn retina, but people who are substantially nearsighted are at a better risk or better chance of having a torn retina. So, just kind of looking in the chat room here. So, if there's any other, the colorblind thing, I didn't even realize how much that was because the sight is there. When they do eye surgery, they have to inflate your eye. They take the liquid out and they inflate your eye. And I don't want to gross you guys out. I'm sorry if this is going to kind of gross you out a little bit. But they clean it. They take out everything. And again, if you're kind of squeamish with things, I'm going to talk a little bit about the surgery. So if you're squeamish, give me 2 minutes because I'm going to talk about that. So the surgery, what happens is they give you the IV in the arm to kind of relax you a little bit. You go in there and you're able to talk to them because you've just relaxed a little bit. They cover you all up and such, and it isn't like they put the sheet over you. They put a little thing that has little holes in it so you can still get light in your right eye and you can still see. So it's not panicky. What ends up happening is they give you a little shot below the eye, right in here. Maybe some of you might have seen some of the videos. I had a little mark there yet. That numbs up everything. You can't move your eye whatsoever. And it happened in the morning, or the one surgery was in the morning, and it wasn't until like 4 in the afternoon when I could actually start to move the eye. And I could feel the eye move because they have it all taped up and such, so you can't see. So they give you a little shot there. Then you aren't going to feel anything, and you really don't care. So then he starts working. And they put a couple of holes. They go through the white of your eye. And then they can suck everything, all the gel and gunk out of your eye. And second surgery was sucking the blood and blood clots out of the eye. And then they can do the lasering. And the lasering, basically what it does is it goes and they just kind of zap and basically cause like a scab, for lack of a better way to describe it. And they do that all the way around the eye because it sounded like that he went and did a 360. So it's completely attached. When it heals, it will seal itself back up, and that's what we want to have. So it's all sealed up, and while I'm sitting there, of course, I'm carrying out a conversation with him. I'm talking to, asking questions. How much more time did I have? How long ago do you think this happened? Is there any way that it could have been prevented? Da 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 da. It's like, oh, and what are you doing now? Because I can see his tools in my, I can see kind of it's like a screen, a blue or green screen is what my eye looked like at that point in time. And you could see the little tools doing their things. And every once in a while you could see the one little vacuuming tool and you could see that there was a little glob of something and you could see it was weird. But anyway, so once he was done with the surgery and such, the very first surgery, I was great. They gave you some, some pain stuff with that and it was all numbed up. The first surgery was later that day. I ended up having the bleeding that we went in for the second surgery. And typically people are not that uncomfortable from this surgery, but I was in some of the worst pain of my life that afternoon and that evening. If I tried to lay down, it was horrible. If I tried to do anything, it was just nasty. Casey he was on the wrong time zone. Oh no. So anyway, we get everything was all cleaned out. Kind of lost my thought there for a little bit. But they cleaned all the stuff out of it, and then then there's air in the eye. And from the first surgery, they need to have the air keep a constant pressure, and they need that air to stay in the eye. So what they did is they put in a gas. I don't know what the gas is, but that's why you guys have seen me wearing this. This is basically a medical alert bracelet saying that I can't fly, and it tells if I get in an accident, it tells them that they can't do some procedures with me because my eye has stuff in it. But then it's inflated, and slowly over a period of a month, is the way it should have been, is that the body will absorb that gas and it will fill your eye back up with fluid. So that's what was going to happen. The problem was the fluid was full of blood, so I wasn't seeing anything. As the fluid, I perceived the fluid as coming down, but really because everything's mirror image in your eye, it was actually filling up the bottom of your eye. 2 weeks after once they could see all the blood, that's when we decided to go back in and clean it out. Because that gas was used to keep pressure on the retina from the first surgery and it was healed, yay. The second surgery, they could put air in my eye instead. So they put air in. What's cool about air is it goes much quicker. It doesn't take as much time for the body to absorb it. So surgery, I came back out and I could actually see, this is their test. It's like, okay, can you see anything? And you can see a little bit when you look down. I could actually see my wedding ring after the second surgery. Yeah, I couldn't see that with the first one. After a few days, I could start to see that coming down, and it's just, it wiggles and jiggles, and oh, it's just crazy. But anyway, finally the air in my left eye was gone yesterday afternoon. All of a sudden, it's like you could just watch it going, and then for the last 3 or 4 days, it was just a little black spot down here. And what it really, in your peripheral vision, if you guys have ever worn a microphone, a headset microphone, it was just like that. So I'm constantly trying to adjust it. It's just the thing that was in my eye. So anyway, so that's the process and such. I've got, like I say, I've got 3 more surgeries to go. Thank you guys for hanging out and watching here. Ron, I'm gonna wrap this up, and then I'm going to be back with Ron Ruth here in just a couple of moments, and we will continue on. Again, Casey is apologizing. He was just he was thinking wrong time zone, because I had given him the wrong the times, and we didn't. I should have correlated time zones much better. So, yeah, he's been a busy guy, and that I understand wholeheartedly. So anyway, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you guys for being here, for watching. Thank you for supporting what we do here at the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV gang. Without your positive messages and such, we wouldn't, be able to continue and do these things. Ron, we're going to I'm going to shut this one down, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. So everyone say hi to Ron. You can't hear us yet. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.